emphasize writing as a critical tool for reasoning, communication, and knowledge building across content areas. Students here at this school, and particularly the English language learners and African American students, demonstrate persistent challenges in meeting grade level writing expectations. Data from state and local assessments indicate that these student groups frequently struggle with the CCSS aligned writing tasks, requiring the development of clear claims, coherent organization, appropriate use of evidence, and command of standard English grammar and conventions. Does that sound like it would be an appropriate thing to base our problem on?
Pretty big goal.
Right,
Yeah.
yes.
I'm like,
Yeah, it is
for
big.
first grade, can we chunk it down?
Of course.
And
It'll
change.
it'll scaffold
Yeah.
throughout the grades.
I feel like if you look at it more like that's the standard, and then it's gonna, with the standard, it's broken up in grade levels.
Right.
We need
So,
some
yeah.
vertical alignment.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly, which is why I
Yeah.
asked all of you
Yeah.
here for different grade levels.
So that's
and
just,
different-
that's the mastery concept right there, that's
Right.
the main end goal.
This is the final expectation,
That would
hope.
be fifth grade ultimate goal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
There you go.
And
Y'all gotta self-support, okay?
And of course, kindergarten and first grade, you're gonna be working on your standards, which,
Can I work on, just getting I was gonna say,
Thanks, yeah.
when you talked about like the toolbox, we have like our little like check off box.
Oh, I
And
love
we're
that.
just
I love
working on
toolboxes.
trying, like keywords, like
Mhm.
they can brainstorm off of.
and I have kids that couldn't even figure out how to fill in a sentence frame. I
Yeah.
gave them the frame, all they had to do was fill in
Fill in
just
the
a
blanks.
couple of words,
Right.
and
Yeah.
they couldn't do it.
Yeah,
Well,
I got
here's,
that too.
I really am a big advocate for the toolbox. I went to a training, that's how I learned this, was because there's actually a training for it. It slipped my mind what it's called, the training that I went to, but it's basically essentially geared towards that toolbox. And I feel like every grade level, if this is the goal, every grade level should have a toolbox of a need to help that student. And that could be the universal language and the consistency that we can develop is if every grade level has it. And then we push it out to ASP and they have the universal language of that toolbox,
I
so.
like that. If you could,
Like,
find
I
us the
have,
name
like-
of that PD, that
I
would
was
be
gonna
great.
Yeah, I'll look it up,
Yeah.
But it's amazing, it did wonders. That's where I got a lot of my background knowledge was, cause man, professional developments, I will go to those like crazy, cause it's
Yeah.
like where I get a lot of my good stuff.
Mhm.
But I'll have to think about it, but it was a really good, PD.
I'll have to look, so, we're about to attend Boost,
Mhm.
and so it's a convention collaborative for, everything enrichment, after school support, supplemental curriculums, things like that. I'm gonna see if there's something about Toolbox while I'm there next
Yeah,
week.
cause it has there's a name for it and I
People
wish,
come
it's like,
From all over the world.
it's
so
really on
awesome.
the tip
Yeah.
of my tongue, but I went one day, we went as a team over at, our school and yeah, it opened up some windows for sure, but I gotta remember the name, cause they come up with all these
Right.
strategies and it has a name on it, but I feel like they're all the same, they're all linked to each other,
Yeah.
so, but keyword I take away was toolbox.
Yeah, I like that. If each grade level could have a toolbox and then we just add on as we go on.
And I know we've been really working on our AVID as
Mhm,
well.
mhm,
Should we include our AVID in that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Strategies should be included,
I-
because we do
yeah.
get observed on them too.
With my Oreo strategy, so I call it an avid writing binder.
Uh-huh.
And so I throw all my strategies in there. I have thinking maps, I have, my,
Like for yourself?
for my
your
classroom, yeah.
classroom.
And so each of my students has an avid writing binder.
Mhm.
And so,
We have binders, but they just have one section of that binder of writing.
yeah, no, I don't like to overwhelm them for the
Yeah.
grade level, cause they're like,
Yeah, they're
being
just
they're
little.
being weaned off of, K
Yeah.
through 2.
Yeah.
So this is where they
They
gotta step
start.
up their game and be ready for you guys.
Yeah.
So it's just like teaching them the language and like getting them comfortable to talk. So I figured have one focus goal
Yeah.
for them,
I like
and
that.
that was my
Mhm.
point. Yeah.